Hello, and welcome to Elmo's Adventures in Washington, D.C.
La la la, la 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 la, Elmo song.
Our adventure began with an early departure from George Bush Intercontinental Airport. Our first destination upon our arrival in D.C. was the Aerospace Museum. Elmo was excited to see the Spirit of St. Louis and the lunar lander. Elmo and I then left the Aerospace Museum for a photo opportunity on the Washington Mall. Later that evening, we headed to the FDR Memorial and the World War II Memorial. Elmo was honored to pay his respects to the men and women that served during World War II. The second day of our adventure began with a trip to Mount Vernon. The view was absolutely breathtaking. We had the opportunity to see an IMAX film about George Washington's role during the war. It was an amazing place to visit. The next stop of our adventure landed us in the Museum of American History. Elmo got to sit on a replica of Rosa Parks' bus. He also saw an original cannon from the Battle of Yorktown and visited with his old friend, Kermit the Frog. The last stop of our second day took us to the Iwo Jima Memorial to watch the Marine Corps silent drill team. Elmo was thrilled to have his picture taken with two members of the Marine Corps. The third day of our adventure began at the Jefferson Memorial. We then made our way to the Lincoln, Korean, and Vietnam memorials. Elmo was so happy to have a group picture taken in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Stop U.S. Capitol. We paused for a moment for a picture with Sam Houston and then headed across the street to visit the United States Supreme Court. Our next stop, Ford's Theater. On the move again, this time to the Museum of Natural History. We saw a triceratops, an aquarium, and a giraffe. They continued with a visit to the White House. We paused for a moment to take a photo with one another. Day 3 came to a conclusion with a twilight tour of the Pentagon's September the 11th Memorial. The final day of our adventure began with a tour of the Arlington National Cemetery. What an amazing place! Elmo was so excited to pay his respects to the men and women that have made the ultimate sacrifice for our great country. We departed Arlington National Cemetery and headed back into Washington, D.C. and to the National Archives. We saw several exhibits, including our country's most prized possessions, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution. We also walked across the street to see Nathan Hale, a true American patriot from the American Revolution. Baltimore bound, our final stop on our adventure. We visited the harbor and got to see the USS Constellation. What a magnificent vessel. On to the airport. Elmo was tickled that he had the opportunity to meet the pilots before our departure. What a great way to conclude our adventure.